So, Arsenal dos, Fulham uno. Weren't a great game. It weren't pretty to watch. However, 3 points is 3 points. We're now 9 behind Liverpool, for what it's worth. Shameless is celebrating goals when we're 9 points behind. But it is what it is. It makes good Insta posts. However, a couple of talking points in the game.
Yes.
Make sure you are following Kenny Ken 1972 on Insta. I'll share your things when I'm done. Yeah. But Kenny, Gabi Magalhaes. It was a clown show from 12 minutes to 15 and a half minutes because he popped his hamstring and for 3.5 minutes we're knocking the ball around and Declan Rice is screaming and shouting, waving his arms, get the ball out, Gabi's effed. Then the ball comes to Declan and then he crosses it into the box. They break away. They're on the edge of our box. Gabi falls on his backside. And then, they're not putting the ball out. Rice is still shouting, put the ball out. Now he jumps back up. Then, guess what? We hook him off. That guy has done more damage in that 3.5 minutes than he did popping his hamstring. However, the other talking point, Bakayo's back. And he scored.
See, first and foremost, you've got to talk about the first half in itself. It was no. I'm not surprised that he done his hamstring because Traore was giving him a hard time because he's going through the middle and he was avoiding. He wasn't actually going towards Saliba's side. He was actually attacking the middle and going towards Gabriel's side. So it's any wonder that Gabriel was really, really tested. But the incident in itself was he's gone down, and my friend of mine, people around me are going, "Go, stop the game!" I said, "No, you can't stop the game.
It's not a head injury.
It's not a head injury because as soon as he went, we just saw him go down." And we didn't know what it was. He just went down immediately, and they were playing around him. And it was actually Smith Rowe who kicked the ball out. Smith Rowe, ex-Arsenal player, kicked the ball out. Whereas Fulham were in the ascendancy. Because the first 15 minutes, it was all Fulham. And then, after we got Kivior on, then we started to get a bit more control into the game. But in terms of, Gabriel, I'm actually gutted because it's no secret that for the past 3 seasons, I've always given Gabriel the sort of end of the year prize as our best defender. I still think, even though on a footballing ability, Saliba is long term is going to be a better defender long term, and he's going to be a world class operator. I think long term as a defender. At the moment, these early stages of Saliba's career, Gabriel Magalhaes is actually our better performing defender, and he's a player that I really, really had a lot of confidence in terms of, next week against Real Madrid, because I know that Mbappe doesn't particularly like his playing with his back to goal, so he's probably going to occupy Timber and but whoever plays, which I think is going to be probably going to be Trossard or Wanyeri. So when he went down, I just think, oh, for God's sake, that's our plan out the window. And then Timber goes down as well because he actually went down, and this is quite interesting because he went down with his knee, and he had a conversation with Mick Arteta.
Do you know? Sorry to cut in, Kenny.
Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
He got clarted on his knee by Jimenez, I think it was. Yeah?
That's it, Jimenez.
Right?
Yeah, right
and
in
then
front of us.
Yeah, and that was right in front of you. Yeah, and he said, and then on his knee, he went down here. Yeah, and he was pushed, and they were pushing the muscle. When he went to the touchline, Arteta never once asked him, "Are you okay?" He was giving him tactics.
Yeah,
we went mad.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. That happens right in front of us as well. Where Mick Arteta was the same sort of thing. Where Mick Arteta was telling him the tactics, and he's basically telling him run it off. And I think the reason why Mick Arteta is keen for sort of Timber to last the full cost, especially the full course of the game, is because, I was wondering why Benjamin White wasn't in the squad. And, there was rumours that his wife was about to have a kid. And then when I looked after the half time, I looked at the Arsenal website, he said he had a little niggle, so they wouldn't risk him. So once again, I was thinking, for God's sake, plan A was Gabriel Magalhaes at centre half. Plan B, if Gabriel Magalhaes is injured, is the possibility or you're either playing Kivior in that position, knowing it could be disastrous, and or just saying, you know what, two quick centre halves, play Timber alongside Saliba, and then you've got to make a decision on Benjamin White, or you may have to sacrifice that and play Thomas Partey, which is another disastrous decision. But we're now in a situation with Timber being injured and Benjamin White not being fit and not match fit. You'll face a situation where you're going to have to get a midfield next week of probably Odegaard, Rice, and Jorginho, and then say to Thomas Partey, play right back. That it shouts that, because I don't. If Timber's done his knee again, I don't think that Timber's going to be risking against Everton, and then it'll be a race against time for the Real Madrid game. Gabriel Magalhaes, I saw it.
He's done. He's done.
And then when after the game, when I went and looked at my files, Ian Wright immediately ruled him out. Or not that Ian Wright's the doctor, but he immediately ruled him out for the rest of the season. And
he's done.
Yeah, so that is
the 3.5 minutes where he was hobbling around. Yeah, that's done more damage.
Yeah,
and this is where, sorry to cut in, Kenny. This is where, when he popped the hamstring, you could see he felt it. Well, but then after that, all you got to do is just fall on the floor, bro. He was then hobbling around, hobbling. Just fall on the floor, bro.
But that's exactly what he did. He went to the floor, but because the game wasn't stopped, he's got back up because Mick Arteta
just stay on the floor.
Yeah, but Mick Arteta is very big. That if the ball doesn't go out of play, he's very big on saying, look, I need 10 outfield players. No matter. Look what happened to Thomas Partey in the North London derby in lockdown when his knee. I don't know whether his thigh went, but he was forced onto the pitch because he didn't want Spurs to have a numerical advantage. And I think that's the same situation with Timber. When Timber done his knee, it wasn't a case of, "Are you all right?" It's I don't want Fulham to have a numerical advantage. And with the rule that it being as it is, that you don't allow players to. Sort of go on the floor unless it's a head injury. The game's got to carry on, and it's at the discretion of your teammates who are positioned. And I think that's where it was. Fulham did have the ball, and then Declan Rice won the ball back.
Yeah, but we had the ball for about 3 minutes, Kenny.
Yeah. But the fact is,
and then it went out for a corner, and that's when he went out.
Yeah, and that's when he went out. But
and Declan was giving it to Bertie, get it out, put it out. Look, he's pointing, and then the ball comes to Declan, he crosses it into the box. They break. That's when they got the corner, Kenny. Right, and then the manager sits there afterwards saying in the press conference, and I ain't seen it. I just see a little bit of it, saying, "Oh, Timber got an injury early, got a knock early. So why is he still on the pitch then, bruv?"
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's on the pitch because Benjamin White is unavailable because he felt a twinge. He hasn't got any ones to come on. And as I was saying on many podcasts with yourselves and conversations we had privately, the alpha and omega of our play is the system. That's the alpha and omega. And then in order to fit into the alpha and omega, only certain personnel can occupy the position. And that's why Arsenal have probably had the most frequent hamstring injuries in the league this season, because overexertion. Only certain players can play in that system, and therein lies the problem. Saka was flogged to death, before Christmas, because only he can play in that right hand side. Timber is being flogged to death because Benjamin White's injured, but because he gives us a different dimension defensively. Gabriel Magalhaes picks himself because he's our best defender, best performing defender, and then it's all a stack of cards. I mean, in the sort of mayhem, we haven't even spoken about two positive aspects. First and foremost, Saka's goal, but the performance of Gabriel Martinelli.
I thought best player on the pitch.
This is probably Gabriel. If you want to go to the positives, this is Gabriel Martinelli's best game. He was doing he was doing all the. He's displaying all the attributes that we were seeing two seasons ago, if not 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, where he's attacking the box.
He looks sharp, man. He looks rapid today.
Yeah, he looked rapid. He was putting early crosses in. His assist for Saka's goal was brilliant. Marino.
What a cross!
Gabriel Magalhaes. Gabriel Martinelli, flicked it on, and Saka had an easy tap in. Now, if we were to do a Saka watch, that was the good bit.
We did Saka watch, Kenny. They zoomed in about 15 times.
Yeah, but there was one time when Gabriel Martinelli puts in a great cross, and I think Saka on the volley or Saka on the other end to get it. I thought, nah, your hamstring's not for that.
No. There was one. Yeah, there was one where he crossed it, and Odegaard spooned it out the stadium.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing people sitting online, Kenny, going, since the ankle injury, Odegaard's shooting's not been the same. No, he's got a shit shot, bruv.
But you forgot.
He was awful today, by the way.
Yeah, no.
That's a standard.
What's new? That's standard now. But have you noticed that Bukayo Saka didn't take any of the set pieces?
Nope.
Which means
he shouldn't be on the pitch, Kenny. Let's be real. Listen, we're both happy that we see him score.
No,
and they kept zooming in. He kept smiling. He was so happy. And for me, I was like, I'm blessed he's happy, innit? But at the same time, he shouldn't be on the pitch, Kenny.
No, not at all. And there's a few idiots that are saying, they're trying to insult us and say, he should be in the pitch because he scored a goal. But look at the way he was running. He's still feeling himself into the game. He's still not committing defence as such. He's still trying to cut in and make a safe pass, which is understandable. But the same people that are saying, I'm glad, let's give him 25 minutes. They're now saying, because of the way Everton playing, because Everton play a robust style of football, that they won't play him. So who wins there? Who wins? And that is the whole situation. He's always going to be a debating point because of my vehement opposition to him being tried in these games, and your vehement opposition to it. Because at the end of the day, history is always going to be on a Saka's side because he scored today. But I still think that when you've got a game of the intensity, i.e. next week, you need Saka to do things that Saka that Saka doesn't normally do in a football match. He has to double up on Vinicius Junior, and if Vinicius Junior goes into the middle, he's got Kylian Mbappe is going to take that off position, so he's going to have to double track Kylian Mbappe's runs, and then
Vinny.
Yeah, or Vinny, and then Jude Bellingham gives himself a free roll, and he tends to like to come into the left centre. So it's going to be there's going to be a lot of running for him, and I worry that even if he's crown jewel, and even though he's got the je ne sais quoi, we're going to be playing with 9 outfield players. That's the big worry, and that's the big sacrifice. And I don't think you can make that sacrifice in any Champions League quarterfinal. It doesn't matter whether it's Real Madrid. It could be Aston Villa. It could be Dortmund. It could be like Internazionale. It could be any of those, Barcelona. It could be any of those teams, or Bayern Munich. It's still a massive, massive risk. But at the end of the day, you got to take it in the chin and just pray that all the doom and gloom that I'm personifying is doom and gloom, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. But I've never seen a player with that kind of injury come back so quickly as good as new, when really and truly he's still fleeing himself in the game. But that's the sacrifice we've got to make. We're not going to win the league. A lot of fans are thinking, Everton might do Liverpool or fail. Well, if you look at the Everton's record since David Moyes has come back from his enforced rest from West Ham, let's face it, most of the games that Everton have played, they've been draws. They haven't actually won many of the games. They were 2-0 up against Man United. They drew 2-2. They got a last-second equaliser in the Merseyside derby. There's been a few draws, credible, against Wolves away. So really and truly, it's not as if Everton are playing well and Everton are going to do anyone any favours. The onus is still on Liverpool to grab that championship by the scruff of the neck and win it as early as possible. So maybe they can, put their feet up towards the end of the season. But I understand the temptation from a lot of fans. I understand the desperation, but in the long term, don't think about the attacking, strengths of Bukayo Saka. Think about the whole football match and what's going to be required next week, because Bukayo Saka is not going to be able to help us in that respect, because it could be a 180-minute game. It could be a 210-minute game where we're going to need legs and we're going to need energy. He can't give us that. when he's just come back from injury.
Facts. And on that bombshell, Kenny, always appreciate you. Get him safe, mate.
I will, 100%. And
love always, mate.
Love
Pray
always.
for Madrid. Pray for Madrid.
Well, look, one thing we do have in our favour: Madrid don't keep clean sheets.
No, but guess what? We ain't clinical like Leganes and fucking Sociedad, mate.
Of course not. Of course, let's not forget. Mikel Merino scored. You know,
he played well today.
Yeah, but he scored via deflection. He played intelligently. But the biggest worry is Miles Lewis Skelly out of possession, especially when he leaves gaps and when Martinelli is going walkies as well. We don't want that next week.
No, facts. We're out. Love. Laters.